Hey everybody, what's going on? This is JR Hack, aka Jake Rice, coming back at you, and I've got a very special guest with me today. And if you don't know who this is, I know you know who it is because I have 6 subscribers and 4 of them are my own accounts. But this is John Hammond. And John, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing real briefly, and just go ahead and tell us about your journey and how you got what you got.
All righty. Well, hey, thanks so much, Jake. It's awesome to be hanging out with you for a bit. Thank you for letting me join the party. So hello. Okay, yeah, anyone listening in, my name is John Hammond. I work for my day job as a security researcher. And on the side, when I can fit it in, I try to create content on YouTube and bring out cybersecurity education, capture the flag, walkthroughs, programming, shenanigans, just all the geeky, nerdy, fun stuff that I think is kind of cool. Um, but I'll give, I guess, a super quick crash course on, hey, how I landed in doing the stuff that I do. I'll be brief because I know no one really cares all that much. But um, so I grew up sort of like any kid, thinking, oh, I want to make video games or I want to be a hacker, like I see in the movies. So Hollywood and it's so cool. So I stumbled across, hey, some online articles or like videos and blogs that said, look, you want to learn how to program. Like if you want to get in this thing, you need a code. Um, so I don't know, tried to do that a little bit, started to build things, started to create stuff. Eventually I went to school and I went to one of the military academies here in the United States. It's the Coast Guard Academy, and they care much more about the security of stuff. Like, cool, it's sweet that you can make things, but can anyone break it? So that introduced me to the whole world of vulnerabilities and exploits and defense and offense, etc. And I thought, well, I'll share my own knowledge, stuff that I'm trying to learn, and showcase it out on YouTube. And then thankfully got to bebop around and land a gig where I'm at now. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you talk about going to school, getting started in YouTube. Maybe it sounds like you may have touched on that a little bit, but what was the thought behind starting in YouTube? Was it just that, sharing that content, helping people learn with you, or?
yeah. So it's funny. I thought to myself, because I was watching so many other people create videos and share tutorials, and this was a long time ago, truthfully. You might be able to find videos that like date back to like, whoa, 2011, or there's even an old channel if folks can track it down, 2009 videos. So over a decade, but it's like, that's how I learned. I was watching people on YouTube offer these tutorials or showcase videos. And I thought, well, if I'm trying to learn, I can do the very same. Like I thought, hey, if people say, the best way to know that you are getting better at something or improving or you're starting to become a master is if you can teach it. And I thought, all right, well, hey, I'll try my hand and try to explain some of this stuff to
That's
someone
awesome.
else, even if it's someone on the other side of the computer screen.
No, and you do really well. One thing I really like about your videos personally is how you really do break it down to almost, I don't know, I'll call it a rookie level. You really do work hard at making things as simple as possible. And especially when I had first started getting started and hacked the box and capture the flags, they were awesome. That was incredible. And thank you for doing that also. Thank you from me and all the other people out there who watch your videos. You have no idea how much they really do help. Or
Well, thank you.
yeah.
I
And
think,
this will kind of lead into another question I had, I suppose. I'm sure you have people come up and tell you at conferences or things, thank you. Oh, John, we love your videos. One, how fun is that? But two, okay, let's make this 3 almost little questions.
yeah.
One, uh, obviously you didn't set out to do that. And what's that experience like being that big now? But two, what's it like going into your day job over a huntress, and what do people at work watch your videos, or are they like, when they bring friends in, are they like, hey John, I got someone I want you to take a selfie with or something, or what's that go down like?
Uh, so yes, it is the fact of the matter. It's very, very sweet. It's super surreal. I try to be as humble and as modest as I can about it because it's just really fulfilling. It's just really nice. I always appreciate when someone might want to come up and just say hello, and if they ask for a picture, like, absolutely, man, without a doubt, it's going to be a ton of fun. um it's kind of funny because my IRL friends, or my
Or,
close cohort that I do live with, and my girlfriend all around, it's like, John, we're trying to go to lunch. Like, we gotta go. Can you stop? Can we please move? Which is, it's again, it's
or,
sweet and it's nice. But yeah, work and for my day job, it blends a little bit in. Sometimes they'll poke me and laugh and be like, hey, your thumbnail is really silly. Like you have a stupid picture of your face on there or something like that. But no, it's all in good fun and it's all in good faith. So very, very sweet. And uh, I never expected it to become kind of what it is, like you mentioned. I think in creating on YouTube, especially, entertainment always wins. Like, hey, you've got meme videos, you've got silly shenanigans of like people doing backflips off cars or whatever. I don't know. It's anything that like that's what gets views. That's what keeps the wheel spinning. For something like education and cybersecurity and even smaller niche, it's just unreal that hey, it could kind of become something a little bit bigger. So I'm very, very pleased and flattered and happy to see it keep growing.
No kidding. And I think that one, that talks kind of to the growth in our industry, but two, I mean,
Oh yeah.
it is really, when you think about it like that, I've never stopped and thought like, hey, you do this well in such a niche thing where there's even a lot of cybersecurity professionals who don't necessarily keep learning or want to watch YouTube videos and learn. And you just continue to succeed and find new content. I am loving your dark web series. I am keeping up with that. It is really good. And
Thank you.
that's really fun. And on that, for someone new, for someone coming in, where do you get inspiration? Seems like a dramatic, but where do you get the ideas for your content? The dark web series, the Windows AD series, because once you do them, you almost seem obvious. They seem obvious, like, oh yeah, that's a great thing, but it's not something one would think of, I don't think. But you think of them, you get them out. So where's that come from?
Oh, okay, yeah. I think there is a certain amount of gradient or trajectory or something, whatever the right word is, that kind of runs alongside me and my own growth and my own career development. Like in the very, very beginning, if you look back on some of the older videos, it's like programming tutorials that weren't that good. It was just me, I make mistakes. I'd probably use the wrong semantics or crap like that. But then it transitioned to capture the flag because I was playing CTFs and I was learning about all those things and I was playing those online war games. Then I got a little bit more exposed to, like malware analysis and the blue team versus the red team, offense and defense. And even like, tracking like cybercrime, like legitimate threat actors, like actual malware out there in the real world. So that poured into the dark web documentary. I have a little bit of I think a fortunate blessing, and I've used this as a kind of combative thing sometimes, but when people say, hey John, we want to go see more series X, or can you do more videos on topic Y, sometimes I have to be a little bit forthcoming and say like, hey man, it's the John Hammond channel. Like I want to do the stuff that I think is fun and cool, and it's whatever John Hammond wants to showcase, which it might be a little bit harsh, but like,
and the people love it though. People come back to watch it, right? The John Hammond show, tuning in every day.
I don't know.
No, that's awesome. That's so much fun. And speaking more to sort of that, where do you get your ideas, the content, your YouTube channel? For a newbie coming in, say somebody does want to start making content and say eventually they do start wanting to build it out more. Maybe first tell us a little bit about your setup, but then if you were starting out again, what order do you start with the mic first? Do you go ahead and get a solid little camera and light? Like right now, my light I've got back there is literally a lamp from my desk downstairs that I brought up here and have it like strapped up to my computer monitor. That's just setting just right on my face. But so maybe a little brief, what do you have for your setup? And then if you were a rookie going back again, where would you start?
Ooh, okay. So that is a little bit of a spicy question. There are a lot of different answers, right? Because it's like, but when people say, hey, does gear matter? Like your equipment, your camera, your lights, whatever. No, but also yes. I don't know. I use a Canon EOS R camera. I use an AT2020 microphone. I have cheesy Elgato lights over on the other side. And hopefully it looks good and sounds decent. But if you look back again in the deep depths and archives of my videos there, for a long time, it was just sharing the screen and it was a Logitech headset. And it's like, I just wanted to make things. I just wanted to put out videos. I just wanted to share whatever education or things that I could showcase. And it doesn't matter how it the quality or high production quality
Sure. Okay.
in my mind, because like you want to just get the education and awareness out there.
Love it.
I would I would I would again really emphasize that if folks are feeling like, look, I can't afford a however many $1,000 camera or microphone or lights. Like, you don't need it.
Exactly.
Focus on building the bedrock of content and creating your own library
Mhm.
first of all. And it will come. The growth will come if you want to invest in cheesy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, it takes time, but it's a lot of fun.
Sure. No, I could. And for those of you who ended up watching from this perspective, I've got a $20 Logitech camera and like $25 Red Dragon speakers that I got at. And
Perfect.
again, I mean, what you said is awesome. Make the content, and as that growth comes, then at that point, but you're right, it's all about sharing that education and helping people learn. I love that. That was really good. And I guess just I'll just ask a few more things I'm curious about, and
Totally.
sort of rolling into that. What you talked about the growth naturally coming. Obviously, you've experienced a lot of it. So, at what point did you really did it hit you that hey, I can do this right. Let's take the time and let's make thumbnails. And there's a lot of people tuning in. At what point did you cross the boundary from, hey, I'm just sort of doing this to do this, to where, hey, people are actually learning from my videos, and there are a lot of people learning and tuning in. Let's take it a little bit more serious.
Mm.
Or even you even talked about, I've noticed in your last couple videos, you talked about not getting demonetized. I don't know if in one you did or something, but at what point does YouTube become more than not necessarily a hobby? Because I don't think you wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, but when does it cross that line and go, let's take it a little bit more serious, maybe?
Yeah. Huh. Um, so again, if I used like the 2011 or 2009
Mhm.
year as a starting point, there wasn't a whole lot of growth or traction, honestly, until like, this sounds crazy, and I don't know if it'll discourage or encourage people, but 2018 is when it really started to grow, because I would collaborate with, hey, some
Mhm.
other cool fun creators,
Sure.
Live Overflow at that time, and that helped the channel grow from cheesy 10,000 subscribers to 20, and then to 40,000, and then
Sure.
80,000. That's like, whoa, we might hit the silver play button. I never thought that would even ever happen.
Yeah, I know it's
Um,
crazy.
um, and I don't know. Then at that point, it's like, okay, wow, the 100,000. That feels like maybe we could keep this thing growing. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I still edit on all my own videos when I have
Nice.
to. I still create my own thumbnails. I'd love to have some folks to lean on to be able to help
When
with
did you
that.
start making thumbnails? For me, because I need to know how much longer I can hold it off, because I've not made any yet, and it's just two little screenshots.
I think I've always had to,
Always.
but I
Okay.
don't think I ever leaned into the like quote unquote mainstream YouTube style where it's
Sure.
a silly face, or
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, big red text and arrows. Uh, I still don't like that. I still feel like, oh, it's very
Sure.
cringy in all reality,
Sure.
but it is what the algorithm
It's part of it, right?
needs. Yeah, it's part of the game. And you can stick to your guns, and there are a lot of other incredible creators that do, and they're like, no, I just have a whatever stale classic, this is the title and
Sure.
thumbnail. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'd like to keep this thing growing, so I will lower my dignity for a little bit and put out the cheesy thumbnails.
For sure. For sure. No, I
Yeah.
don't. So, are you what I looked the other day when I was sort of thinking of what we were talking about today, but are you still experiencing pretty good growth on the channel? You still growing, or what's that look like?
Yeah, no, thank you. So I tried to lean a little bit in towards, hey, can I grow this thing to, I don't know, create active and constant contact
Mhm.
or content. So I thought, you know what, let's try to get a video out maybe 3 to 4 times a week so that I can keep the momentum. Because if you keep getting yourself in front of people, they're not going to forget about you. You just sort of fade away if you don't. And that's a hard truth, but it sometimes is a little bit necessary. So doing that, I think since DEF CON, or like the middle of August, I was able to keep, let's get 3 or 4 videos out a week. And then that has been very good to see some of the growth. I think we're sitting at about 460,000
That's
subscribers. So
incredible, man.
making our way to 500,000, at least 500,000. That's the next milestone.
That's awesome. That's a huge milestone. That's crazy. I've got 6 subscribers. 4 of them are my accounts, and one of them's my girlfriend, so I logged into her YouTube and did it. But you do what
You
you
got to
can.
start somewhere. Yeah,
All
man,
right,
without a
go
doubt.
get it. Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know what? Sort of. This is something I've talked to friends about, the people I do live capture the flags with, and I think I heard this in one of your videos originally. Can you give me your thoughts on using a write-up in a CTF?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. So again, this is totally just a John opinion. So if any folks disagree or whatever, but I have always been a proponent of look at the write-ups. Like look at if someone has shared a solution and you're trying to learn,
Mhm.
there's no shame in that. There's no don't beat yourself up because like, hey, I need a nudge. I would just want to peek at what is the next step because you might be spending hours, you might be spending days just banging your head against the wall trying to figure out something that you never even
You wouldn't
possibly
just
could
don't
because you
know.
just don't
Sure.
know. Yeah.
Right.
It's some trick, it's some technique, it's something you've never ever heard of. And in the case of you learning, like when you know you're actively in learning mode, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's how you do it.
Mhm.
You read, you write, you explore, you tinker. If you're trying to, I don't know, test yourself and get a little bit more training in, like lifting the heavy weights in the gym, nothing wrong with that. Okay, you can stick to your guns and bang your head against the wall for however
Right.
long you want. But again, if you're just trying to grow, you're just trying to, hey, I want to get better. There's no shame in just taking a peek and seeing what's the next step. I just need a breadcrumb.
No, I love that. And I actually, I think I may be biased because I think I heard you say that in a previous video. And I just, I couldn't agree more. It is
Yeah.
one of those things, especially first getting started, you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And a lot of times, no matter how good your Google foo is, sometimes even when you see the answer, you're like, okay, what do I do with this now?
Right.
So I agree. Sometimes you do need that nudge, and using that write up to learn, I think. And again, it's not like you're not going to find a write up for a live CTF competition where you can cheat your way through it or anything. But I just always thought it was weird how some people really do resist the idea of using those write ups to like learn and figure out that next step from. But to each their own. I think you're right. I think it's just an opinion, and there are all those people out there who will bang their head and work at it, and eventually they'll figure it out. But I'm kind of like you. I would just like to figure out what that next step is first, and then from there see if I can figure out what to do or what those next steps would be. But all right, I've kept it for a long time. I appreciate you taking the time. I guess we'll end on one last sort of, I guess, a little bit more of a fun question, John.
Ooh, yeah.
What if you could give a, that might be too broad. Let me rephrase that. If you had to have a one tip for a fresh graduate, one tip for somebody new starting in cybersecurity on YouTube, something like that, maybe something broad, something sort of generic even. What would you tell somebody new out there that wants to either start on YouTube or really get into the industry?
Yeah. You're not gonna like it because it's such a boring and basic answer, but it's like the cold hard truth. Um, keep it fun. Like make sure you're still having fun and enjoying what you do. Because no one talks about, or you don't often hear about, like the long nights where you're just, hey, grinding away at something, whether it's some engagement that you're doing for work, or whether it's some incident that you're uncovering and doing analysis on, or you're just studying for a test. Like I don't, whatever, it could be anything. But you're burning the midnight oil, you're groggy, you're tired. Oh, hang on. This thing is actually going to end up eating my entire weekend. Oh, this is going to eat up the whole vacation time that I was supposed to have planned. I'm burnt out. I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome. All the hard stuff hits. So the best you can do is arm yourself and make sure you're doing something that you really love and that you really enjoy. You're passionate about it and you make it fun. Do the stuff that you're interested in. So that I know it sounds so lame, but
No.
that is honestly the best advice I can give. Just make sure you're happy with what you're up to.
No, I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect way to end because especially in the cybersecurity field, everything changes. And if you want to stay
Yeah.
involved, you got to constantly learn, and you're not going to want to do that if that passion's not there. I think you're 100% right. Loving it and being willing to put in that extra work is really key to doing good in this field.
Totally.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, that's going to be it. That's going to be good. John's got a video from his perspective with a different view. What we sort of did here is we did a little split, and I went ahead and took, asked him questions about his job, YouTube content, things like that. And he's got an excellent video with a great guest in it. It gave me that, just sort of talking about what I was up to and what it was like coming out of college and getting two great job offers, being that lucky and how I got there. So definitely, if somehow you ended up on my channel first before you got to his, go give that a watch. And definitely, well, you talked about cheesy thumbnails, like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Everybody have a great day and just keep getting better.
Sweet. Thanks, everyone.